Good morning and welcome to the David and David on Real Estate podcast. We have Gord Lemon from the Real Estate Investment Institute back again today. And we have you back on episode number 156. And we're going to be talking about one of my favorite topics, which is how you can build your business by working with a different type of clientele, by helping people level up, by looking at real estate from a very different perspective, from looking at real estate from the perspective of building wealth. Gord Lemon, welcome back to the David and David on Real Estate podcast.
Great to be back, David.
Great to have you on again, Gord. Last episode, we talked about frustrations and we talked about struggles, and it got, a little, we're looking at, the dark side of some of this, but today we're really going to focus on all the positives that come through with this and how this can be like a real boon to any realtor for their business and how to grow a business and grow their own personal side. So like this, the segment I'm looking forward to, because we're just talking about how a realtor is going to benefit. It's going to positive, and we're glad we got an expert like you on to share your experience and tell the realtors out there how to do it.
So that my segue into telling them how to do it?
Yeah. We're just going to sit back and listen to you for a little while.
Well, I'll start by saying the traditional realtor business model is all about chasing commissions. It's transactional, sell a house, get paid, and start back on the hamster wheel. It's just a roller coaster of unpredictable income. And most realtors, they never build true wealth because they're always in hustle mode. And, it's funny, they say that realtors never have a retirement party. So
true.
But if you talk about the investor realtor model, this is where the real money is able to be made. So instead of chasing commissions, you want to start building long-term relationships with investors and investors who buy multiple properties over time. So one investor can lead to 5, 10, even 20 transactions over the years, as opposed to maybe like over a 20-year period, maybe 3 or 4 transactions with a home buyer, home seller client, if you're lucky that they remember your name after a few years. But the biggest difference here is traditional realtors make money from commissions, and investor realtors, they build wealth by also investing in real estate themselves. And that really is the ultimate shift. Because when you're able to start building wealth yourself, as a realtor, it kind of takes the heat off the hamster wheel daily routine. And when you are in the game, if you will, it builds trust and confidence for your clients. So that's the ultimate shift, I think.
Well, one thing that's happened in the GTA, let's say in the last decade or so, we've had a very active market. Even when other markets in North America weren't as active, GTA had a strong market. So we have a whole generation of realtors that grew up and started their business in that type of model. So they get on the hamster wheel and things are pretty good on the hamster wheel. They're making money, they're making commissions, they're doing okay, and they think it's just going to continue forever because the market's always going to be great. There's never any change. All of a sudden, 2024, there was, even in the great GTA real estate market, there was a sizable shift, and all of a sudden there isn't that hamster activity out there for everybody to do. So now I think you companies like yours get everybody's attention on a different level than they did before, because now they're okay, I'm not busy, the market's not good. How am I going to make a living? How am I going to grow my business when we're in a market that's a little more volatile than I ever experienced before, ever thought it was going to be, right? So, you talk to some of these realtors 2 years ago, and no, I'm too busy to think about that. I've got so much going on. I got listings. I got this. I got that. Right now, they got time to focus on this and understand that markets are volatile, and you should be looking at this model as as an additional model, not a replacement model, but an additional model to build up your business.
Absolutely. And, you know, as we know, and if any realtor looks at a historic trend line, you see the increase. I mean, the GTA has been going up since 1996, with obviously blips along the way, but we've seen an appreciation trend that's continued since the 1989 crash, which ultimately bottomed out in 1996. So if you think about real estate that way, and like you said, David, we're in a bit of a stagnant place right now where a lot of clients or prospects are sitting on their hands doing nothing and waiting. Well, Warren Buffett said it amazingly. I think it's my favorite quote by him is, be fearful when people are greedy and greedy when people are fearful. And obviously consumer confidence is pretty low right now. And as people are fearful, well, that means that there are potential opportunities for investors or those that have um, the wherewithal to actually put themselves out there and be able to focus on finding these opportunities and making bold decisions when the rest of the population is just sitting there on their hands. So understanding the real estate investing side, and obviously we all know that we're in a housing crisis and we're becoming a nation of renters as affordability continues to become an issue. So who is housing all of these renters? Well, obviously it's investors. Now, owning rental properties only one strategy, but it is certainly a popular strategy. So if you're able to now reap the relationships that you've created through the boom time of a couple years ago, and understand you sold that property to that person for a certain amount, you know how much equity they have. Maybe it's time to go back to them and have wealth building conversations with those clients about where they want to be in the future, where they want to be in 10 years, in 20 years, and have wealth building conversations with those. That's the first place to start. But then as a realtor, you can totally change your mindset about becoming a thought leader and helping everybody that you talk to build wealth, have these conversations, because everyone, life is expensive and getting more expensive. Everyone wants to level up. And one of the most tangible, secure, predictable ways to do that is through real estate.
Yeah, I think our industry needs to create more income streams. As a commissioned sales rep, if you go on vacation, if you take time off, if you get sick, God forbid, you have to take time away from your business to care for an elderly parent. If anything happens, your income stops coming in because you're not trading in real estate. You're not out there, selling. And there's this idea of team building out there as well. And to build teams, you need completely different skill sets that you need to bring to the table. And you're managing people, which is also not easy. And of course, if any of them stop selling, your income stops coming in. So, I'm a big proponent of creating multiple income streams and leaving a legacy behind for your family. You can't say you have kids, say you've been in this industry for 40 years. You can't just, hand your business to your kid and expect your kid to have the same level of success that you've had just because, you've built a really strong brand, you've built a really great business. Yes, they're going to be better off than a new realtor starting, but they're not going to get the same utility out of what you've built in that 40 years that they would if you let them 20 rental properties that are paid off. Like imagine that legacy. Like let's celebrate that as an industry. right? And the other thing, Gord, I want to kind of touch on is the characteristics of investors compared to traditional home buyers and sellers, right? So, investors are always looking for their next deal. They're
Yeah,
not emotional.
yeah,
Um, they're always looking to level up. They're looking at the numbers, right? They're always looking for more and more opportunity versus the traditional home buyer who, has to uproot their whole kid, has to pack up their whole life, has to, change utility bills. The kids have to change schools. There's new neighbors, there's moving vans, there's unpacking, there's like it's chaos, right? Whereas an investor is buying properties, looking for opportunities, and not going through all that craziness of having to uproot their whole family. Like it's a smarter way of building business. And I know we have graduates who have done, 10 deals with investor clients without even showing the property. Here
yeah,
are the numbers. Here's a video walkthrough so you can, judge the condition of the property very quickly. And if the numbers are making sense and they like the overall condition of the property, they're pulling the trigger because they're not looking at it from, hey, this is for me. I got to check, how big the room sizes are. None of that matters. What matters is the ROI, the bottom line, the numbers, and whether the property makes sense in the investor's portfolio.
yeah. I mean, I've personally bought property from Google Maps, and an obviously understanding the numbers first, but and substantiating that through all of the due diligence, but property inspection and Google Maps and, some pictures. Never seen the property, still never visited the property. Doesn't matter. And it continues to be a good investment. And another thing I wanted to add to your list of benefits with an investor is we all know homeowner clients are fickle, and you always got to be trying to stay top of mind to keep your name in front of the clients, on the client's mind. When an investor realtor is working with their clients and providing them the types of properties that the clients are looking for, or have brought, are on a wealth building journey of decades with that client, those clients are loyal and they refer you because, if I've bought my first rental property because of you, and I'm looking forward to the next one that I'm buying maybe next year, man, I am boasting about that with my neighbors. I'm like, man, I just bought my first rental property and I couldn't have done it without, this realtor. And it's easy to boast. It's a good conversation at a cocktail party, so, and veteran investors, certainly. I mean, investors, they like to continue to learn more. So they go to investor meetings, they belong to investor meetups. And here's the thing, because realtors who understand the language of investing are so rare, the ones that do get talked about and referred within the investors' networks and through these meetings that they go to all the time. So it's only a benefit to really understand the language of investing. And that all starts with education.
Right. The education is the key component. You're never convince a potential investor on how to invest or why to invest through you unless you speak the language and understand all the benefits. And the realtors aren't going to get that unless they are taught that. They've got to be educated first. Right. So maybe just take a minute or two to explain your process, how you teach that, and how the realtors can become experts on investing.
Sure. I mean, as an investor, like, I don't want to be the smartest guy in the room. I'm hoping the realtor's the smartest guy in the room. And the public expects you to be that, right? But step one is to get educated, and you can't help investors, truly help investors, if you don't understand investing yourself. So that's why the real estate investment specialist designation exists, to teach realtors how to work with investors, how to analyze deals and structure creative transactions. And this process is done through a 10-unit learn at your own pace training that takes you from really understanding who is this investor client, what do you require, and how do you qualify this client, all the way to understanding investor strategies, deep analysis. We go into deep analysis, understanding multifamily, understanding how to help people, understanding financing. So you're able to understand all the numbers and be able to create blueprints, if you will, for your clients to take them on a wealth building journey. And this will build your credibility, because when you're starting to talk about investing, when you're sharing market insights from that perspective, and you position yourself as a go-to agent in your market, as a thought leader. And when you're starting to surround yourself with investors, because you can speak this language, and then you're able to go to investor meetups and network within real estate investment groups, and even learning more how investors think. When investors see that you get it, they'll come to you. And finally, we found that 25 or more percent, I think it's a growing percentage, David, of our graduates, they start investing themselves. And if you're helping others build wealth through real estate, why not do the same for yourself? It's the most successful realtors practice what they preach. So we're able to take our students, if you will, through the process of understanding how to speak that language, and how to be able to build a business of investors, and turn your existing network into investors, and market differently, to all the way. And the training takes you all the way to basically dipping your toe into commercial real estate. So if you've got investors that, and I'll use a monopoly
Analogy.
yeah, that's the word I want. Selling the 4 greenhouses to buy the big red hotel. You're going to have
Right.
investors that will ultimately do that. And if you can't speak the language of the big red hotel, then it's going to be harder to steer them in that direction. And we're not training you to become commercial realtors, but why not be able to speak that language and then provide that a qualified client to a commercial realtor, have a great warm handoff, and be able to, get a nice, referral fee or co-broker or what have you from that aspect. Did I answer your question at all? Did I answer your question?
Yeah, this is great, Gordon. I think it's going to lead us to needing you to come back for another segment, because we're going to want to talk about, what you just touched on about realtors investing for themselves as part of this too, because I think that's the last important piece of this puzzle. But this has been great, Gord.
It's been my pleasure.
Yeah, and to all our listeners, if you're hesitating, if you have any questions, reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you. This is a topic that we're really passionate about, so please send us your emails, send us your questions. We'd love to hear from you. And we're also going to include Gord's contact information in the link below. So if you have any questions about how this can really transform your career, book a one-on-one meeting with the Real Estate Investment Institute, and they're going to show you step by step how you can really transform your business and really serve clients at a higher level, because that's really what this is about. If you help people build wealth, you're serving them on a higher level. You're creating that loyal clientele that's going to stay with you and go on this journey with you for a really long time, and everybody's going to win on that journey of real estate investing together. So, Gord, thank you so much for being here, and we'll have you on the next episode to talk about, you know, what this is really going to do for realtors if they start investing in real estate themselves, and why it's a big win, and why every realtor needs to start doing that today.
Pleasure to be here, guys. See you soon.
See you soon.